Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about Bo Nickal. We're going to be talking about his UFC 309 performance and what is possibly next for him. So in terms of his performance for UFC 309, I think there's some good things that we saw and some bad things that we saw. The main good thing is that he did fight smart, and he talked about it afterwards. He mentioned that every time that Craig has won against good level competition, it was when they gave him what he wanted, they took it to the ground, and he was able to sub them. And Nickal, he was able to put his ego aside. He wasn't like, oh, but I'm going to show them that I can take him down and I won't get subbed. No, he was smart. He said, I'm just not going to give him that opportunity. I know that he's not a threat on the feet. Let me just strike with him. And he did it. Now, the downside of the performance is I thought that he did what I thought he was going to do. I expected him to strike and not wrestle, but I thought he'd look explosive. I thought he'd be in and out. I thought he'd be hurting Craig. I thought he'd have a lot of output. The guy has good cardio, you would think, and he just didn't. He didn't perform like I thought he would. His output wasn't good. He landed, I think, 25 significant strikes against Paul Craig, who is not a good striker. Like, Craig is a good fighter, but he's not a good striker. He's very, very hittable. He's chinny, and Nickal didn't really hurt him. He didn't knock him out. I didn't like the performance at all like outside of the fight IQ. I just thought he could have done a lot better. They were kind of giving him a layup and he didn't really take it. Like, I thought he would do what Kai Barrio did, keep it on the feet and then knock him out. And I thought he would do it better because I thought he's more explosive than Kai Barrio, but he didn't show that at all. So I'm hoping that he improves the striking. I'm hoping that he works on it. I'm hoping that he works on the output. And I still think he's a really good prospect. He's an elite wrestler. He's an elite athlete. And if he just works on the striking a bit more, I think that he can still be a champion. I expect him to fight for the title one day, but I think he's still a while out. So now let's talk about what's next for him. I pulled up the rankings. I got them over here on the side. And I think there's a few interesting matchups they can do. I think one might be Michel Pereira, because after that performance, I don't think you want to give him a guy that he's going to want to strike again against, at least not soon. If they want to make him do a quick return, I feel like they got to give him somebody that he can grapple with. And I think Michel Pereira is a good start. Michel Pereira, great striker, very explosive, scary dude. And I'm sure that he can maybe land on Bo, maybe even hurt him. But I think it's a good matchup for Bo because I think the wrestling will be there. And I think he can take advantage, grind out Michel Pereira. I think he has better cardio. I think that's a good matchup for him. And it's a good way to get him into the rankings. Michel Pereira's ranked number 15. And you give Bo Nickal that fight, probably wins it. And then you get him ranked, and then you build on him a little bit more. I don't think that they should rush him. I don't think that he should fight for a title in the next 3 fights, maybe not even in the next 4. I think it should be 5, 6 fights before he fights for a title so he could really develop. And by the time he gets there and he challenges, then he'll be fully ready. I think he just needs a little bit more time. Maybe some other good matchups. I'm thinking Shara Magomedov would be a very, very favorable matchup. I think he would run through Shara. But the issue is that the UFC likes Shara a lot too. And I think he's another guy that they're trying to build. And I don't think they're going to feed him to Bo Nickal, because then you're gaining, you're not really gaining anything, because Nickal's already a prospect and you are losing something, because then you're kind of losing that aura of Shara. Everyone's super high on him. If he loses to Bo and he loses in devastating fashion, he's going to lose some of that hype. And I don't think the UFC is going to want to do that. Let's see who else. Paulo Costa, that's a decent option. Costa's got pretty good takedown defense. He can make Bo have to strike a little bit, show off a bit, but I think that Bo will still be able to wrestle, and I think Costa is a winnable fight for him. So that could be an interesting one. I think maybe give him Pereira first, Michel Pereira, and then give him somebody like Paulo Costa. But I think that's a possibility. I think Roman Dolidze is another one. But the thing with Roman Dolidze is he's similar to Paul Craig. You don't really want to put him on his back. He's very dangerous. And then if you put Bo Nickal out there against Roman standing and he performs like he did against Paul Craig, Roman can win that fight, because Roman's not the best striker at all, but he's a decent striker. He hits harder than Craig, and I think he's a better striker than Craig, and he throws more. So I think that if you give him Dolidze, you might kind of just end up with the same kind of performance, and I don't know if the UFC wants to do that. And then, I don't think he's really ready for the other guys just yet. There's Brendan Allen. I think he has a fight booked, though. I forget who he's fighting off the top of my head. It's a rematch, but I don't remember against who. And then I know that Imavov is fighting Adesanya, I heard, so that's not going to happen. But Imavov would have been a good fight for Bo. That's a winnable fight. Striker versus grappler. a fight that Bo, I think, could win relatively comfortably. I think you keep him away from a guy like Vettori. I think you definitely keep him away from Kai Barallo because I think Kai could beat him right now. You definitely keep him away from Bobby Knuckles. That's not a good fight yet. Hamzat, you definitely don't want him fighting Hamzat. And I think Hamzat's going to challenge for the title next. So, yeah, I think the smartest decision is probably just give him Michel Pereira. If Imavov loses against Adesanya, maybe that's a good next step, or Apollo Costa. And after that, maybe you can give him like a Jared Cannonier and then maybe a bigger shot. Realistically, he could probably compete against Izzy right now. Not on the feet. Izzy would absolutely mop him on the feet. But on the ground, I think Bo would still have a lot of success. And if he can get those takedowns, which I think he would, I think he'd win that fight, but they still got to build him up a bit. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Bo Nickal, still a really good prospect, still an elite guy, still an elite athlete, but he has some work to do before he becomes champ, in my opinion, or before he challenges for the title. And I think the best matchup for him right now would be a Michel Pereira. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.